are now live.
Okay, that's nice. So I have the opening speech first.
Yeah. Do you want to go first or me?
I think maybe you could go first because I'm very new to here.
All right. I haven't really prepared anything. I've main. This is gonna sound very basic, but I've mainly been preparing the debate and also in doing work on the M5. Been very tunnel visioned with that. But for the start, I will just like to clarify something. Um, Although the SDP is here, something which can be clearly seen is that the NDP is not, which I think symbolizes a majority of the NDP's policies. Really, they say they're gonna do it, and then they just don't show up, uh, despite being there like minutes beforehand. Uh, so that's something I would just like to say. Additionally, um, here we have my fellow candidate Ador. Hi. Uh, Thank you for actually showing up. Um, I'm here to represent the HPP's ideals of progress and continuing to help the city and not stagnate it as we are starting to see. Yeah, I guess I'm done. Or,
So it's my turn.
yes, your turn.
Um, Thank you for inviting me to this debate. Although I'm new to Harlon, I actually spent like 2 months to try to know more about the city. I think it is actually quite interesting to participate in the Harlem politics, and it is my pleasure to uh, participate in this election. Firstly, I would appreciate the Harlem Progress Party for their achievements in the past few years, but I think it's time for Harlonians to have an alternative choice. For SDP in this election, we are running three candidates. Firstly, we have Jay, which is the chairperson of our party, and then second in line is me, which is the vice chairperson, and then thirdly we have Bancoso, which was an MP from the National Democratic Party. And for our manifesto in this election, we are planning to construct a website to organize effective laws. And secondly, we will propose to have better cyber protection in this server, as Mike from HPP and Chocolate Rep from NDP also propose similar stuff, and we will talk with the other parties regarding this issue. Thirdly, we will propose an amendment on the parliamentary procedure, which is clearly listed in our manifesto, and it will give higher efficiency to the parliament. And we will also propose to open a parliament public consultation channel because although the Petition Act has passed lately, um, I think we can have more transparency with a public consultation. And finally, we will propose an annual mental health week to be held in the server because although considering we are living in this virtual world, we are also um, real and unique individuals in the real world. So we would like to raise awareness regarding this topic. And I hope you can vote for the SDP in this election. Thank you.
All right. Do you want me or you to go first with the question?
Maybe you question me once and I question you back like that.
All right. So so my first question for you, Adora, and the SDP is that here let me check out your manifesto quickly. So your policies in the manifesto are to establish private transit companies, uh, a website with all of Harlan's laws, security legislation, amend parliamentary procedure, open public consultation, mental health week. All right, so those are your policies, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, let me. Okay, so actually, well, excluding two pieces of legislation which are already passed, and a piece of legislation which is currently in the works with the Senate and the government. All of your policies are the Senate has made clear that they will not pass it. What is your plan? Because I don't see one here.
I don't know which policy are you referring to when you talk about the Senate that has vetoed, because the legislation on the cybersecurity thing, we are currently suspending it because we would come up of a better plan by discussing with your party and also the NDP, because the main point is to protect cybersecurity on of the entire server and all our players. And I think legislating a law isn't the only way, but I think this issue has to be solved. And may I ask which other policy are we referring to?
I'm also referring to here. Let me go let your private transit policy. No, the Senate has made it explicitly clear that they are going to vote that down if it comes to work.
And yes, we are planning to suspend it for now, because if the Senate isn't going to pass it, and after talking with other parties in the election chat like 2 days ago, I think I have to reconsider about that.
All right. And yeah, I don't actually know the Senate's stance on the mental health week, but how would that improve?
I think it is not improving the entire quality of a server, but actually in improving our personal lives, because to be honest, I don't think Harlon is everything that matters to us, because of course it is important, but our personal life is even more important. Like it is a general social topic, not only in Harlon.
All right. I think it's your turn to ask me a question, correct?
I've seen a lot of arguments in the election chat, like in during the last 2 months. I've actually also played in some virtual politics from some Hong Kong communities, but although there are also some arguments, but they are generally very peaceful. So, do you think hostility between parties is a good development in democracy?
I don't think the recent hostility side of the election chat is rather good. The only other time I've seen hostilities at this level, I think, was during the no confidence crisis in the Golden Portal government, which was not very good. The prime minister tried to declare martial law. Some called it fascist, actually, so I would call that bad. Um, I don't think the recent hostilities are good, and I would also like to state recent hostilities only started recently when some candidates had crises around them. But that's only something I'm stating. Probably it might be cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, in my on my side, I think that, like I mentioned, like I think 2 weeks ago, on one of my messages in the politics channel, I mentioned that actually in virtual politics, I don't think that any party is really like bad, terrible. Like I think you understand what I mean. So I think the best way to participate in a virtual election is that we just do our best and um not have any hostile arguments with it. But let's leave the topic for now. Another question for you is that is the HPP willing to cooperate with NDP and the SDP regarding the cyber force concept?
Uh, Sorry, could you repeat that?
Would the HPP be willing to cooperate with NDP and the SDP regarding the cyber force concept that Mike has put up?
Should the concept no longer be actively disavowed by the Senate, uh, the HPP would be willing to look into it alongside the SDP and the NDP. However, I thought a few minutes ago you said that you are no longer doing that policy.
Um, I mean that the issue has to be solved, but not by legislating that kind of security law, because that the Senate has mentioned that they are going to veto it. But I think there are other ways. That is why we have to discuss with the other two parties.
Um, can I ask you a question now?
Sure.
All right. So, one of the most prominent parts about the SDP campaign is the consistent and regular U-turn. Here's a quick example. The SDP is a right-wing party. U-turn. The SDP is now the social. Solaris is now the Social Democratic Party. The SDP is the SDP here in the debate. You say we are no longer doing this policy. We are not going to look into it. However, Harlem Progress Party, would you be willing to work with us on it? Next up, another U-turn here. Let me try. Oh yeah, here. I do actually remember I had a list of notes, U-turns. I trying to remember. Oh yeah, the SDP. Yeah, okay, just forget it. But yeah, the SDP has regular U-turns that they continuously do and have been doing throughout the whole campaign. How are voters meant to trust you in government if you have done so many U-turns in a span of 3 months, yet government would make you have 6 months?
Firstly, I would explain about the cybersecurity again. Um, we are giving up that legislation plan first. This is the thing. But we are not giving up to solve the cyber threat, the cyber threat issue. And that is why we have to communicate with HPP and NDP to come up with a better plan. Because I saw that the HPP has proposed the plan of a cyber force, and I think that is interesting, and that is some potential plan to replace what we have proposed. Is this point clear?
Yes. How?
Another
Oh,
point regarding the Solaris into the SDP. To be honest, does ideology really matters here? Because we haven't changed any part of our manifesto by changing Solaris to the SDP. We basically just for that we could have a better name and cut ties with the Solaris, because we want to do more localization work later. And also we have amended the charter of Solaris. The right wing concept was just moved from our other branches to here. But when Jay suggested us to change, we just accepted it, and then um we choose social democratic because I actually had an idea to design a logo with a rose, and then I just decided to change it. I think that's why.
all right. So, another U-turn. Here, third U-turn. The SDP clarified that they had zero involvement with the NDP prior to long-standing prior to joining the server. There is clear logs that show that you have had contacts with the NDP for months now, as you are in a group chat with multiple members, and I believe it has been stated publicly that you were told about the NDP on numerous occasions about as an example, I believe the no confidence crisis in August of. Am I correct about that?
Can you mention again about that crisis thing? I'm not very clear.
I'm clarifying that you have been told about the NDP prior to joining Harlon. Is that a yes or a no?
That's true.
All right, and previously you have stated that you were not aware of the NDP prior to joining Harlan. That is a yes or no.
I don't think I mentioned that. I know what is the NDP. I just don't really know what they have done or something like that. What I know about the NDP before I joined Harlan and I knew other people was that they really have terrible design. That's all.
All right, and you didn't actually answer the main part of the question I asked earlier. How is the public meant to trust you after all of these U-turns?
I think to trust or not to trust is just depends on how they would see our clarifications because firstly regarding on communication of NDP, I really won't deny that prior to joining Highland we were supposed to cooperate with them in the election, but then I realized no, they just suck. Like after I joined Highland, um be, before I joined, I actually listened to the Golden Portal about lots of stuff about HPP attacking them. Like he would describe it for no reason and just to oppress them. But after I joined Harlan, the first person I reached out to was West, which who was the chairperson of HPP at that time, because I would like to know how they how your party would think about NDP actually. And I discovered that not everything the Golden Portal told me was true. And then I decided that okay, I'll probably just be the third force party, and maybe I could have a bridge between the two camps. If you ask West, I've mentioned a lot of times that I would like to make you two camps cooperate. Last I started mentioning that in February. So I think if you are to ask if the public has to trust us or not, I think it really depends. Like yeah.
See, I was all for that. However, you at no point during that mentioned that the U turns, which it's not just the singular policy about the NDP and the SDP talking together. It's multiple U turns, as I mentioned earlier. Your security policy, your name and your stances on the political spectrum, and also I guess the talking. And yeah,
I think
how is the
I just
public meant to
clarified that a
trust
few
you?
minutes ago.
How is the public meant to trust you when you continually change what you are saying to them? Not how is the public meant to trust you over that singular policy because you
I
keep
think
on
I just
changing.
clarified about the cybersecurity thing. Like do you understand what I talk about, or do you want me to repeat it again?
No, it's fine, but how is the public meant to trust you when you keep on changing what you say?
I don't see how that policy that um cyber threat security policy thing was a U-turn. We still kept our our suggestion that the issue has to be solved, but just in a different way because uh we are here to find a better solution for everything, not to insist on using an inappropriate plan to do something. And regarding the political spectrum thing, I don't think a political spectrum actually exists here. So yeah, it's just about the design.
All right. I'm not going to push this further because I do not think that we are going to get anywhere. Um. So, do you want to ask me a question now, or?
I think that's it. Oh, right. Regarding the government formation, do you have any plans on cooperating with any other party if the HPP actually cannot gain a supermajority in this election?
If the HPP does not gain a majority, we are willing to cooperate with other parties accordingly.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Right. And then now I have a question to ask you. So, what is so SDP policies continuously listed again and again. So what is your what is your policies that you think you can pass through the Senate, and that would actually help Harlan and improve Harlan, better Harlan?
I think one of the main proposals that mentioned in a manifesto that I think the Senate would also agree with is that to construct a website to organize uh, the effective laws. Because when I scroll through the Parliament channel, there are like uh, a lot of different laws, legislation, and acts that have been passed. But if we have a website for it to check on to organize all of them, it would be easier to for the players to refer to them. Like if you have the laws and then the player can't even check them, what is the meaning to that?
All right. Just trying to go and find something. Give me.
So
Okay.
regarding the
Here.
amendment of on parliamentary procedure, I would like to know what you think about that.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Can you wait? Okay. So could I continue from the question I asked you first?
Uh, sure, sure.
All right. So, you say your number one policy is that you want to construct a website with all of Harlan's laws and create a task force for documenting it, correct?
Yes.
Right. Uh, Task Force Law Documentation Act, HB 3074, author Westray. This is something the HPP has already proposed to Parliament, has passed to Parliament, and is currently actively being enforced with cooperation from the Senate.
Can you mention the act again? I would like to find it.
The Task Force Law Documentation Act here. I will put it inside of the server chat.
Oh, I think I found it. I found it.
Okay.
Here it is. Hmm. I would like to know what changes have this act made, to be honest. I'm
Uh,
not really sure about that.
Here. Let me. Uh, Here. The act recognizes the need to compile and categorize all legislation in Harlan to make it more convenient for citizens to access and understand. Uh, it would also give all it here. Let me sorry, I was accidentally reading your manifesto, not the law here. The act establishes a task force for the documentation of legislation. The goal of this task force shall be to fully publish all legislation on the Harlan website, determine what bills are enforceable as law, and complete the requirements in the Standards for Legislation Act.
I think that the thing is, it actually took me like a bit of time to even find what the Constitution of Ireland is. I don't know if every law is written on the wiki. I just don't seem to find it. That is why I proposed this thing.
Uh, Question. What about the part where this was already proposed and is currently prepared for publishing?
Can you clarify again what you're talking about? I don't really seem to understand.
I
Sorry.
am talking about the Task Force Law Documentation Act and how the government is working with the Senate to document every law, see what's enforceable, and then later publish them on the government website. Which I will just say quickly. JT from the admin team doing a dude's amazing. He is programming the website. Like it's
Hmm.
great. I like the best. Thank you, JT. But yeah. Uh, yeah, that.
I think at least we will propose to number the laws, uh, like chapter one, chapter two, as we do that in Hong Kong, and I think a lot of other places also do that. It is easier to refer to them like that.
Are you saying it would be easier to refer to uh HB 3074 with your chapter system?
No, I mean not referring to the acts proposed in the parliament, but like you have the document for like every single ordinance or law, and then you give them a chapter name. Like let me see how that works in Hong Kong. Give me a second. Um,
Because from what I'm hearing, your policy seems a bit redundant and that Harlan already has these policies.
I think if any of our policies overlap with that uh already proposed in the parliament, I think it's due to my ignorance. I'm sorry for that.
Alright.
But I think that we will still propose to like in Hong Kong the chapter one of the legislation is the interpretation and general clauses ordinance like that. Um, so you already have different laws for Harlem, but then it would be easier to refer to them if you have chapter numbers for that. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, but uh what about the law documentation system outlined by the amendment to the Parliament Reform Bill?
The Parliament Reform Bill, you mean the one that is already proposed before?
I'm referring to amend the Parliament Reform Bill. This bill, which
Oh,
creates a law documentation system, which is the current one that we have been using for actually not over, but nearly 2 years. Um, the HB 3 dash whatever.
we aren't planning to change anything about that. It
Then
is not
why
it's
then
not
why
the same thing.
okay, then why add a chapter if we already why add another document system when we already have a document system in place? That just seems like it would be redundant and creating more red tape.
I mean, do you understand that like the bills proposed in the parliament and laws are different stuff?
Yeah, but that documentation system is for laws proposed in Parliament.
Are you able to list out like what laws you have right now in Harlem?
Yes, actually, I am. Here, do you want me to list every single law in Harlan?
No,
Because
no,
I,
just
I,
give
I have a
some
list for that
example.
right now in front of my screen. If you want, I can do that.
the the main point of why I propose this thing is that because it is somehow a bit messy in the parliament, and also when the bill are proposed and they are passed, they aren't just laws. Like what are laws? Laws are those documents that list out what you can do, what you cannot do, like Article 1, Article 2, like that. And the bill you propose to Parliament with with a number that with according to the current system is just about why you propose this law, how it shall be executed, and when it shall be executed. So I think they are two different documents, right? Am I right?
You're not. The current system documents each law by number, no matter what type of law it is. Uh, as an example, if a law were to be proposed, uh, next here, if a law were to be uh it would be HB 3103.
Wait, 103? What's that?
HB 3103. What the next law proposed take. Um, you could essentially you could cite any single number down the line, and you would get a law. As an example, randomly, HB 024. That is um making December 14th a national holiday act proposed by LPH or Pro Survival.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I'll discuss with Jay on that again.
All right.
Maybe.
Okay, so assuming that okay, so going back to the main point, that legislation, that's your main one. But what's next? What's your next law that would actually pass the Senate and improve Harlan?
I think it would be the Parliament public consultation channel. Oh, and the amendment of parliamentary procedure. I think both are important.
Uh, so the public consultation channel, where the public can petition the government for different things, correct?
It is not about a petition. It's like before you submit a bill, you can first post it there and see what the public would comment on that, and then you can do amendments to make your bill more suitable to the public interest before you propose it to the parliament.
Uh, so I'm
I think that's how
hearing
it works.
essentially just making a second politics channel. Because whenever people usually like the channel, which the
I
NDP
think
has
the
been
thing is
the
I haven't seen anyone actually doing that, or seldom see anyone actually doing that in politics channel.
here. Let me ping you with an example. Boop. Oh, here, I've just pinged you about public consultation.
Yeah, I saw that. I was somehow inspired by some of the consultation messages I see. And then in politics, you actually
Hold on.
usually get flooded by other topics very, very soon.
I'm
Like
sorry. I
why
thought
don't you
you
just
just said that you have not seen this done before.
I think I said I seldom seen that. I remember Chocolate Republic doing like twi 2 times, I think, for the latest acts he made.
He does it regularly each time he proposes an act.
I remember that Discord now has a new function, like the course, you have a function called the forum. I think it would be better if we have a forum like designed for public consultation, because in politics you actually just frequently gets flooded by other topics.
All right. And do you think the Senate would pass an act which would add yet another Discord channel to the server?
I'm not sure. I'm not a mind reader, to be honest.
All
But
right.
I think it is still worth it to try it to propose it first.
All right. And my question was, um, what laws will improve Harlan that the Senate will pass? Was that my question?
I don't think I can tell at this moment, like whether the Senate would pass this or not this, because yeah, as I said, I'm not really a mind reader, but I think um when we think that it is beneficial to Harlan, um no matter if we know that the Senate will veto or pass it, it is still worthy to propose one. Because if we always think that, oh, the Senate will not approve this or not approve that, and then we would just miss a lot of things that could be beneficial to Harlan. Because actually none of us are mind reader. Why don't we just propose it and until they discuss it, to be honest.
Uh, let me.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
may I ask how many questions do you have left? I think it's getting late.
Uh, I'm ready to keep on asking unless you would not to ask. But, like if you want to end the debate soon, that's completely understandable. Fun fact: I haven't actually had breakfast yet, and the fact you're about to go to sleep just shows how vast Harlan is and how just crazy we can all be together from other parts of the world.
Yeah, I think that is the interesting part of Harlem. We just have so much diversity here,
Yes.
and I really appreciate that, to be honest. Do you
Uh,
have a closing speech or something like a bit
uh. s-
of it?
So you want to know? Uh.
Yeah, let's do it. I think I
All
have to
right.
sleep soon.
So, I'll go first, I guess. Or actually, do you want to go first?
Maybe I'll go first.
All right.
Um, this is my first time participating in an election, and probably my second time in an election debate. The first time was half a year ago in the student union thing, and I think um either what party you are supporting, it is very important to vote because around the world democracy is slowly vanishing. I always think that the Harlon politics is similar to that of Taiwan. Taiwan is divided by the KMT and DPP, with third forces always rising and falling, which none success to be strong before the rise of the Taiwan People's Party in 2024, which broke the absolute majority of either party for the first time. Um, in my opinion, Harlem is the same. We had so many third choices other than NDP and HPP, but none of them survived for long. Like for example, the Liberal Party didn't join the election again. Would SDP be like Taiwan's People Party in become a stronger, effective workforce? Well, we hope so. What I want to say is that the parliament is never the patent of any party, and it is and shall always remain to be the People's Council. And we can make a change happen today. Thank you.
All right. Uh. So. It's okay. So here. So it has one. So once again, the NDP has not shown up, and throughout the debate, the SDP failed to answer some questions, and and other questions they uh they felt a lot because some of their policies they're not good. And the Harlem Progress Party continues. Although I didn't get to showcase a lot throughout, we have a lot of policies which we are ready to pass and we want to pass. We we want to improve the city. We want to better the city, and we want to make the city bigger, stronger, better, and uh, another better term. You get what I'm saying. Uh, One of the stuff here. I really want to see the city grow, and I believe a HPP term is what can do that. And uh, here, as a random example, the stock market. I'm really passionate about getting the stock market back up again, where we can get new public Harlan companies too, as well, not only real life companies. That is a HPP policy that we want to get passed, and there are dozens of other policies I can just randomly take of. Here, let me. Uh, as an example, we have the policy to build more embassies. We want to do that. We want to grow relations with other servers such as Redmont, Stratham, Vindix, maybe not Vindix, but all of the other servers. Like Lumaru. Our relations with them have been stagnating. We want to keep on building, and we want to do better, be better, and we want to make Harlem better. And I would like to thank Adora for showing up. And I would say thank myself for hosting, but that would be a bit egotistical, so I'm not going to do that. And I would like to thank members in the audience for showing up. As an example, Qzu and Trimater and Kovacs earlier, but they kind of left. But yeah, thank you everybody. And if you want a government which is ready for progress, please vote the Harlem Progress Party. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to this debate again, and I think it's time for me to sleep.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right. Have a good night and stream. Thank you everybody for showing up.